Let's make the vertical herringbone stitch pattern. Today I'm going to show you how to make this herringbone pattern, which is nice and flexible. It's thin, unlike the other herringbone stitch pattern you've seen on this channel. It's not quite as thick. It has a beautiful reverse side to it. In fact, it would make a really cool feature even to flip it to the front, but this is the right side and it's got a vertical herringbone. The other one you've seen is like a side to side, and it really double knits every stitch for something really thick, but this one's nice and flexible. So if you've liked the herringbone stitch before but thought it was too thick or ate too much yarn, this is the stitch for you. Join me today on GoodKnit Kisses for the stitch pattern and bonus pattern for cowl. See you soon. Welcome to GoodKnit Kisses. We're all about helping you stitch your love and love your stitches. Written instructions and details, click down below in our video description for the link to our free blog, or you can get a PDF that's ad-free, and the links are there. We also have a right and left-handed video tutorial in those links down below, so click on that. And I'm just going to go over the basics of the yarn. You can get whatever yarn and needles you like. Just make sure they're appropriate to each other. This is a US 10 needle Knitter's Pride Carbons. The link will be in our blog. And then I'm using a bulky 5-weight yarn. We're going to dive right into this pattern. Grab your things and we'll begin. We're going to begin with the cast on multiple of 3 plus 1. I have casted on with 34 stitches to get this, and it is 6 inches wide. So if you want to make our cowl or scarf pattern, which we will have linked in the video description down below, you can cast on and get it to this size. And this is the edge down here, the beginning. I want to show you the pattern repeat after it's already been repeated, but this is how you would begin. So cast on 34 stitches and then make a foundation row of purl, and that will be on your wrong side, your foundation, and then you'll have it looking like this. Now my cast on was a long tail cast on. Okay, so you can see how nice that looks, almost like a stockinette here. It will roll a little bit, but then when and it really just stops rolling. But then once I'm done and complete with this one, I can bind off, and we'll go over this in the end, but you can bind off and then graft or seam this together just like you would for a stockinette. So you can begin with a foundation row of knit if you like. I did a foundation of purl to get this nice smooth look. All right, so let's begin. So pause your video if you need to go ahead and cast on, and we're going to start our stitch pattern. Always begin with a knit 1 on row 1, and then we're going to yarn over and then slip 1 purlwise. All of our slips in here are always purlwise. You just slide it over, and then we're going to knit 2. So knit 1 and 2. Then we're going to take our slip stitch, let's pull it out right here, and we're going to pass that slip stitch over 2 stitches. So pull it down, pass it over. You should have your yarn over here, which makes a stitch, and then we have our 2 knit stitches with the passed slip stitch over those 2 stitches. And then we're going to continue repeating. So the knit 1 stays alone by itself and go all the way to the end to repeat. So let's do it again. Yarn over, slip 1 purlwise, knit 2, pass the slip stitch over, so grab this one and pass it over the 2, and you're done. You're going to continue repeating that. So yarn over, slip that stitch. So if you find that you've gone to the end and you're off, you don't have 3 stitches remaining in the end to complete this pattern, you may have forgotten to slip a stitch first and then done your 2 knits, or maybe you forgot a yarn over and you may have to go backwards. So I'm going to show you after this one, I'm going to go backwards and show you how to undo the stitches. So see how this one's loose here? That's because on the row before we have another yarn over. This pattern is repeated basically the same, but purls on the back. So go ahead and knit this, knit the next one. We're going to pass this slip stitch over like that. What happens if I mess up, Kristen? All right, here we go. So we're going to undo, we're going to tink, which is knit backwards. We're going to pick up this slip stitch here, and we're going to pass it back over those 2 stitches. Okay, then we're going to stick our needle in below that stitch and undo, unknit. Okay, we're going to do it twice and unknit that, and then we have our slipped stitch here, we push back over, and then we can come back to this area here and undo it back to the point we need to. Hopefully you don't need to, but I want you to know how to fix things. So go ahead and we're going to move forward again. Yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, knit 2, pass the slip stitch over, continue. Yarn over, slip 1, knit 2, slip, pass the slip stitch over, PSSO. Yarn over, slip 1, knit 2, pass the slip stitch over. You can see my ball of yarn. It's the Bernat Maker Home Deck. It makes a fantastic scarf. All right, so I'm going to continue on, go to the end, last 3 stitches. I'll show you and we'll turn and do the second row. All right, we are at the last 3 stitches here, and we're going to yarn over, slip 1, knit 2, and pass the slip stitch over and turn a work. Now we're on the wrong side, and it's just as beautiful. I think it has kind of this waffly vertical honeycomb. It's really pretty. All right, we're going to purl this row. So put your yarn in front, purl 1. It always begins with that +1. If you did this in the round, you would just eliminate that extra stitch. So it's just a multiple of 3, and you wouldn't do that very first stitch like that. All right, so we're going to yarn over, and on a purl row yarning over, you begin with your yarn in front, go all the way around the needle and come to the front again, then slip purlwise, then knit 2, or I'm sorry, then purl 2, 1, 2, and then we need to pass the slip stitch over. It's not sticking out as much. What you tend to see is the yarn over sticking out. Okay, so you're going to pull this one here, lift up and over, and now we're over those 2. We're going to continue with the yarn over, so go all the way around and back to the front, slip 1 purlwise, purl 2, and then pass the slip stitch over, repeat, yarn over, slip 1 purlwise, purl 2, and pass the slip stitch over. Okay, it's that simple. Sometimes I overlap mine. It's that simple. You just continue down to the end of the row. You should have 3 stitches down at the end, and then you turn it over and repeat your rows 1 through 2. So you continue on until you get to your desired length and bind off knitwise. So we're going to bind off. You don't need to do it super loose, just normal. And this is what your edge will look like when you're binding off. So you're just simply knitting those stitches together, well, knitting one and then binding one over the top, just as you normally would bind off. So you knit one and move the next over. So if you need a binding off video, I do have those. Links are down below and on my channel. And just continue until you get to the end. And then you're going to take your tail, pull it through, and weave it in, or you can use it to sew together your ends to make a cowl or whatever you like. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for joining me again. Be sure to get that video for the cowl pattern and more down at the link in the video description below. And check out our other videos. So I hope you have a great day, a happy knitting and crochet. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us today, where we help you stitch your love and love your stitches. See you again soon.